In this video, I want to talk about different ways to secure your Linux computer. At first, a very important one, the update manager. Please make sure that your system is up to date and that you have installed all updates. And also your, in this case, Linux Mint is up to date. So no more Linux Mint 19 or 20 versions. A small hint, Linux Mint 20 and 20.3 and other versions will discontinue getting security updates this May. So make sure to upgrade another version further on. Why is this important? Because all humans are doing mistakes. Also, some software developers, this is completely normal, but these mistakes have to be fixed. And also, if you talk about browsers, for example, or your mail client, these are very security relevant programs and applications which should be always the latest version, because you may do online banking with this and some other things. In Linux Mint, you can activate automatic updates in the update manager. Just let's head over to the update manager, then select edit preferences, and here in automation, you could just activate all 4 things, and then you don't have to bother about updates anymore in the future. Just make sure your system is constantly up to date. A second thing to apply is checking your firewall. How is your firewall running on the system? You could just open your firewall settings. If you don't have any firewall app yet on your Linux system, then I can recommend you GUFW. It's written like this. With this, you get this firewall app. Then here under rules, you could allow some rules. Here I, for example, allowed SyncThing for another video of mine. If you're interested into a SyncThing, then have a look for it. And also I have applied some Warpinator rules. You don't actually have to use the firewall in your local area network, so in your local Wi-Fi, if you trust everyone in your local Wi-Fi and also your router has your firewall enabled, but it doesn't hurt you and also bewares you of some mistakes you maybe will do in the future. Another very important thing for Linux, you could enable disk encryption. In my case, I don't have any disk encrypted yet. You could enable disk encryption for the whole system. If you install Linux as a new system, then it's great. Then you could just enable it with one checkbox. But in this case, I already installed Linux Mint and I didn't set it up for encryption. You could apply that kind of later by doing some tweaks. So just move your data to a new partition you will create and then secure this new partition. I already did a video for this. Just have a look into the video description where I handle this exact case. Who should enable disk encryption? Especially all people who are on a laptop and also bring their laptop to their work, or if they are traveling with their laptop, then it's quite important to have disk encryption on, at least for your private data, because then if your laptop gets lost, then your data is kind of secure. Another very helpful thing is just have a look, what applications are you running at your current system? Do you really need this application? Especially all software you installed afterwards. So for example, in my case, this would be maybe SyncThing. Go through every application. All pre-installed applications, I would say, are quite fine, but all applications you installed afterwards, ask yourself, are you really using them? Are you really needing them? And also in terms of security, maybe it makes more sense for some applications to run them only in a web browser. Also a very small hint for example, Thunderbird. If you are using Thunderbird as a mail client, also in my opinion, the best mail client in our open source space, you can go to the settings here. And by default, your passwords, if you're storing them in Thunderbird, are not well protected if they are not inside a disk encryption. For this, you could use a primary password, also sometimes called master password. You could just define a new password here, and then you are encrypting all your email passwords and private keys and so on with this password here you are entering here. And then you have to enter it every start of Thunderbird. But this will make it very secure in the future. So if someone steals your laptop and you don't have your fully personal data encrypted, then this is quite important. Also, this is the same for Firefox. If we have a look to Chromium or Brave, they are using the passwords and keys apps, which is a great daemon for this, but the Mozilla products aren't using them at the time. And also on Firefox, you could go to passwords, then, for example, here to the preferences, or just go straight away to the preferences. And here you can also set a primary password. Just a small hint, if you're dealing with passwords all the time, I guess many of us are doing this every day, a password manager would be a great change. I'm personally recommending KeePassXC. You can also sync your KeePassXC files, for example, via SyncThing, or via your own Nextcloud, or with another cloud provider. It's completely free and open source. It also works on Windows clients or Mac client, even Android, it works fine. Also with syncing these things, this is my daily password manager. I highly recommend. You can also just connect it with some hardware keys, for example. Great thing to use, in my opinion, and the best open source password manager, and it's completely offline. You don't have any data stored at another server somewhere in the internet. Also, a very small hint, if it comes to generating some passwords, you can use a KeePassXC here. I already installed it here with tools and then password generator. Then you have a very easy password generator, but also a very small tool. I'm using it almost every day, to be honest, is the tool called PWGen. It is not installed by default, sadly, but if we have installed it, very cool tool, to be honest. You can generate very easily some passwords and just go ahead with them. You can also define the length, for example, of these passwords. If you type in 20, then they are inserted with 20. And also you have a lot of other different options to use for PWGen. Also a pen and paper is kind of good. It can't be hacked, but if you make a photo of this or you leave this paper on a unsecure place, then yeah, it also has its security flaws. And also, if this paper gets destroyed, this also happens with the password manager database, for example, if you're storing it locally. And this is a point for making backups right. A very important thing for your Linux security. For that, I can really recommend you Borg. Borg is also a great species inside Star Trek. But let's have a look to Borg Backup. Here we have it. It's the best tool for backups in the Linux space, in my opinion. It has everything you need. It has space-efficient storage of backups. It has secure authenticated encryption and so on. Mountable backups, wire fuse, very, very great. Works on Linux, Mac OS, BSD and so on. Not on Windows. This is a Linux channel and we are discussing Linux technology here, so this shouldn't be a problem, I guess. I'm also backing up many servers with Borg. It's working great. But you don't have to use Borg by itself, because Borg by itself is only a terminal tool with a kind of easy CLI, but there's also a graphical tool which is really, really easy, which also your grandma can use, and this is called PK Backup. Just like Pikachu, but only with PK and then backup. Here we have it. It's a GNOME app. You can get it in the FlatHub, for example. So you could just install it via your software manager in many Linux distributions. It's a very great tool, and this is the tool I'm also using every month, doing my own backups on an external hard drive. And of course, it also stores in different locations if you want to, but also in different snapshots. So you can very easily go to a specific point of time also later on. Let's come to one of our last topics in this video, and this is called virtual machines. I don't know if you're familiar to VirtualBox. If you are not yet, I highly recommend you also sometimes using it for security related things. Or if you don't trust any application, then it's great to install a Linux inside VirtualBox. Yeah, then you have a Linux where you can do everything. You could destroy it, you could try some new software, you could also do some unsecure things, because yeah, it doesn't hurt your main machine realistically. So always there's a very small percentage chance that also a virtual machine guest could break out to the host system, but at the time this isn't possible if we look to real percentage chances. So yeah, highly recommend it. Also using the VirtualBox version of the official website. So for Linux Mint 22 versions, this will be Ubuntu 24.4. Very cool software, very nice. They changed their software license for many modules to the GPL3 version. So it's just free like the Linux kernel. Yeah, the Linux kernel is at GPL version 2, but I guess this is okay. So yeah, just have a look to it. VirtualBox is a great software. I also did some videos about this. In the end, let's just come to a very user-friendly software, which doesn't do too much, but it gives a direction what to use and what to be aware of. And this is called Linux Assistant. It's a software I wrote myself. It's completely free and open source. And I guess I already have it installed. Yeah, of course I have it installed. I have a new version, but this is okay at the time. This app has also a very easy security check. It's nothing too special, but it gives you a good direction here. And it looks if you have any additional software sources, because especially for Linux, this could be one realistic risk in the future. So if you're using many additional software sources, like for example, for browsers or PPAs or something like this, and they could be hacked. And then there could be very easily some software introduced into your system which you aren't aware of just via the normal system updates. So this is a very realistic risk. So just make sure to only have software sources enabled you really need. And this is, for example, for a security aware software like a web browser or your mail client like this, or banking software. If it's using additional software sources, then this is okay. But for any casual software, I would highly recommend you turning off the automatic updates via the additional software sources. You could just do this by opening up, for example, on Linux Mint, the software sources app. Also, if you have some software sources available, then it gives you a link also at some other distributions where you can change these. It also gives you a check about updates, also your home folder security rights. This is for local security between your and other Linux users of the same Linux machine. By default, many distributions are not making this right, especially if you create new users. They don't have the right home folders yet. Also, Linux Mint is not good in it at the time. So also Linux Mint has still some potential there. And also network security, it scans, for example, for XRDP or SSH if it is enabled. So it tries to beware you of some broad mistakes you could make, but it isn't displaying you, hey, your system is completely secure. It just says, hey, in these things, it's looking quite good. Now we are at the very end of my kind of fast video. How did you like this style? Just write it me into the comments. And also, if you didn't subscribe yet, I highly recommend you to do that, because every week we are releasing new stuff about Linux and open source software. So definitely stay tuned for this. And if you found this video helpful, please leave a like and subscribe to this YouTube channel. And hopefully see you on the next one. Bye.